Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to the community. This is a time for citizens who would like to address the commission on any on any non-agenda item. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to asking staff to review the matter, asking that the matter be put on a future agenda, or responding to criticism. We have 0 call to the community, Trish.
That is correct.
Response to call to the community. I don't believe we had anyone at our last meeting. So there is no response for a call to the community.
Correct.
Staff.
Bear with us 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
Morning, guys.
Hey,
There's
guys.
a
Welcome.
sign-in sheet right up here. Did either of you have, want to speak on call to the community or just observing? Sorry about that.
Staff reports. Community and Recreation Services Monthly Report, presenter Tricia Kramer, Director of Community and Recreation Services.
Thank you, Chairman Patty, Commissioners. My monthly report, my written report is in your agenda packets. I'll just go over that briefly. Rec Center pool continues to be open to the public. It'll be open until Labor Day. Open swim hours are weekdays from 3 to 9, Saturdays from 10 to 7, and Sundays from 1 to 7. And the community has been out and utilizing the pool, so we're very happy about that. Group lessons and our summer swim league ended in July. So right now, for the month of August, we continue to offer private lessons and elite lessons, which are also one-on-ones, but at pre-scheduled times. And, of course, water aerobics. We have, I think, 11 participants for the month of August, and they're enjoying themselves, so that's been great to see as well. I've got a dive-in movie coming up, our last of the season. It'll be on August 24th, and we are showing Ratatouille to the community. So if you are interested or know of any families that might like to join us, please help spread the word. And finally, Georgia Cox, who is originally from the city of Phoenix, has accepted our offer of employment as the new aquatics coordinator. And she has actually been onboarded and will be starting on August 19th. So we are very excited to welcome her and get her moving and grooving with us. And she'll be coming in, I think, actually at a good point because we're winding down for the season. So it won't be chaotic. It'll be a good start for her. And got great plans. So hopefully she can come out in September and meet you all. As far as preschool goes, the school year started on Monday. We've got actually 43 preschool registrations and working to fill a couple of those openings with our young kids, those 3.5 and 4-year-olds that are first-time preschool participants, and we'll work on that. New preschool aides, Miss Emily and Miss Victoria joined us over the summer, so this is their first time with all of our preschoolers in the classroom, and so they're pretty excited as well, along with Miss Shea. And Miss Rita, our longtime assistant preschool teacher, she's been with us not quite 10 years. She has retired, and so now we are working on her replacement. But we've got a full staff in there with the kids, and we'll be happy to get one more into the mix. As far as community services goes, the Summer City Line issue is out online. Hard copies are available in the lobbies of the Rec Center and City Hall. And happy to have that issue out as well. We're prepping for the Air Force flag raising ceremony coming up on September 18th. So if you are available, or if you know anyone that would like to help support our servicemen and women, particularly the Air Force, at that event, we'd love to have you all join us for that as well, especially being so closely tied to Luke Air Force Base and many of the veterans that live in our community. Sports has Coach Pitch League. The league is starting up. Coaches already had their meeting, and they are starting their games on September 3rd. So right now they're getting ready to start all their practices. Fall Sports League registration is ongoing. That number says 348, but when Pat and I checked earlier today, we were actually at 401. So making great progress and well ahead of last year at this time. So we're excited about all the kids in the community that are taking advantage of our youth sports programs. Registration for our third-party sponsored sports, Skyhawks, which is the new one where we're offering field hockey and sand volleyball, is going a little bit slower. We've got 2 registered in each. And so we're trying to work with them to generate more interest in that. Those are classes, introductory classes, not leagues. So even if it's just a few out there, we can still move forward with those classes. And Best Pickleball is actually up to 9 now. So that program was introduced last year and is really picking up some traction with the kids, and we expect that those classes will pick up in registrations as we get closer to that September 7th start date. Same with Strong Minds Run Club. That has now been around in the community for a couple of years. So they have a strong following of young kids that are into running, racing, and we've got 9 signed up so far for that when we checked earlier today. And Challenger Sports, who many of you know, are out there in the summertime offering summer camp out at Staggs Park. They have really enjoyed coming out to our community each summer and spoke to us about offering a fall break soccer camp. So we're going to give that a try as well, since we don't offer anything during that time frame. For special events, we've got together with a couple that is interested in bringing a farmer's market to the community. We originally spoke with them last month, and we're hoping to get them started up in Litchfield Square Park, but they really want to start in October. The park won't be ready for them to be in there quite yet. So we're working with them to try and figure out if there's another option within the city. I think our biggest concern right now is probably overseeding and how that would work out. So we'll see if we can make that happen, but they definitely do want to come into the community, hoping not to delay it, but if it has to be November or December, then we'll work with them to make that happen. Special events, we are just moving forward with all of our planning for the upcoming year. Applications are open for artists for the Fall Fest in November, the Spring Fest, Christmas in the Park, and the Litchfield Park Gathering. So artists are starting to apply for all those shows, and we're excited for that. Parade applications are also open, so moving forward full steam on all of our rec programming. And I don't know that it's on here, but we ordered a new stationary bike for the weight room, which is set to come in next week. And we also ordered 2 new soccer goals for Camelback Park, which Public Works helped Pat install, and we're happy to have those as well. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions you guys might have about rec.
Thank you.
Are the 2 new soccer goals to replace or to add another field?
I think we're to add to the other fields.
We'll have
We've
2
got
fields there now.
Staggs and Camelback now.
But there wouldn't be 2 fields at Camelback?
No,
No.
Oh, okay, that's what I was asking.
that clarification.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say there's applications for the parade?
Yes, we've already received, I think, a dozen of them. Yeah, so if you have a group or there's a business out there, student groups, nonprofits, now's the time to apply.
What if Anthony just wanted to walk?
Yeah, right.
I think that's why
I think he wants the commissioner.
I'll wear
No, I think
we could all wear the
Sun
shirts.
The orange shirt, oh, I'm not wearing that in
He's
public,
the Sun
sorry.
City Palm. He's the only boy in the Sun City Palm.
Hey,
You know,
there's a
and-
first for everything.
I'm waiting.
We can wear our
Because
tree painting shirts.
I like that idea.
Can I get my double X at some point for that? On the street?
We can make that happen, I think.
I guess the only other thing that I want to mention to you guys, which I think didn't make it on here, we just opened this week also tickets for our partnership event with the Wigwam, October 5th, the Retro Bite 80s Night from 6 to 9 p.m.
Mm.
So, those
October
tickets
5th?
are available, yes, October 5th. And if any of you are interested in volunteering to help out at the gates, happy to have you join us for that as well. I'll follow up by email on the volunteer part.
May I ask a question? The farmer's market, is that a full go, or there's only 2 people or 2 booths interested?
That's a full market.
Full market, okay,
Yes.
there's just 2 additionals, or? I thought you mentioned in here there were 2. Did I mishear that?
Couple.
It's a,
Couple?
yes, it's a husband and wife
Oh,
team that are
okay, I
interested in putting on.
understood, okay, thank you.
Will we be able to find a spot for them? I mean, if we're trying to have them at Litchfield Square, wouldn't that also be overseating?
We kind of
Mhm.
rotate the
We
overseeing.
shift.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually try to shift the parks to work with Pat's sports schedule and,
Yeah,
stuff like this, but we can definitely shift stuff around.
I mean, I think that'd be a great addition to the community. I don't think I've seen one of those here.
It's been a,
For a
If we-
long
I mean, if we
time.
have to put off overseating, might be worth it.
You can do it in the library parking lot or something like that if you need it.
Yeah.
Just for one time, until we have space available.
they'd be looking to be out here weekly, each Saturday.
That is awesome. Thank you, Trish.
You're welcome.
Public Works Monthly Report, presenter Kyle Ames, Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Chairman Taddy, members of the commission, nice to see everybody again. Just a couple things that I want to touch on for this last month. Saks Park and Tierra Verde Lake remodels are complete. We are working on getting some additional tables for the gazebos. I think last meeting I mentioned that the old concrete ones were kind of damaged, so we're replacing those. Delivery dates 4 to 6 weeks, potentially longer, just depends on shipping. So as soon as those get in, we'll get those installed. I've been working with some multiple contractors for palm tree lighting for the downtown district. I know it's been brought up in the past, the damaged lights, the uplighting for the palm trees have taken a beating the last few years between the storms and potentially the trimming of the palms, fronds, knocking them off the trees themselves. So as of Tuesday, I received all the quotes. I've awarded one of the contractors for the repair, so they should be starting the next couple of weeks to get those replaced. I've been working with the same contractors to get some Bullard vandal-proof lighting around the lake. Unfortunately, I have not received any quotes on that yet, but I'm hoping I can get those in fairly quick. With the lights, we're kind of in a dilemma with the lights. Either we're going to go with a concrete style or a powder-coated metal type base. I think I'm leaning more towards the concrete, just due to the fact that they're a little bit more sturdy and can take a beating more than a aluminum style powder-coated piece of metal. So I'm curious to see what the contractors come back with on proposals for these lights. So once I get those in, I'll definitely update you guys in the future. The library lawn gazebo will be replaced in the next couple of weeks. I spoke with the contractor last week. They're ordering materials, so they mentioned to give them 2 to 3 weeks to have this replaced. the Tierra Verde, brittle nade problem, the aquatic weed, I'm sure everybody has noticed over the last few weeks. That weed actually takes in the July-August timeframe due to the water temperatures increasing. It's also increased by stagnant water. Obviously, we don't have a lot of flow in that lake. It sits. We get very little aeration moving that water around, so that's why it develops. So I did have Arizona Lake and Pond treat that. They had it treated within, I think, 4 or 5 days. So it's definitely resided. And we're going to actually put some, I'm looking into putting some grass carp in there to help with feeding this problem in the future. They've suggested that would probably be the best going forward instead of trying to dump continuous chemical in this lake to control this aquatic weed. So I think that's one of the safer, healthier alternatives going into the future. So, and other than that, that's pretty much all I got. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I drove by and where the Lantana used to sell LP, what were they were planting, and I didn't come back by that way later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll drive by tomorrow, but.
Yeah, that was finished yesterday, so we put the LP back in.
Right on.
Gravel, so.
Good.
That was finished, yes, yesterday.
With plants or with gravel, you said?
Plants,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Montana, and then we put new gravel in
Nice.
there as well. So,
Okay.
a little freshen up.
I just have a comment. One of the trees that I love that you planted across the street from my house, the stake is wonky, and I'm afraid it's gonna get ripped out in the wind.
Oh, the ash, okay. Well, I'll
Thank
get
you.
stuff on it. Yep.
Go ahead, sir.
You mentioned putting bollards on the lake. Is that like all around the walking path or just on the dock area?
The,
I don't
no, that's the whole lake.
Okay.
So we're not gonna put them towards the sidewalk. It's gonna be more, along the shoreline.
Oh, okay.
It's for safety reasons.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of residents reach out that it's dark there through the night. Avondale PD has actually requested something like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody falling on the lake, not be able to see who's out there, so it's definitely needed. So
Yeah.
that's why we're working on this project.
Yeah, it seems like a big project, but I think it'll look nice.
Mm-hmm. We've tried some alternative options in the past, but
Yeah.
they
They
haven't
didn't
worked.
very
Yeah.
long.
No, it didn't last very
They
long.
did not.
Yeah,
I'm still finding them today.
How many bollards would be?
30 to 35.
Okay, that's-
Totally around all the whole lake.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
From there, if you have a question or a comment next time,
Yes,
we'll need you to fill out the form.
I put my name up there.
But you didn't request to speak.
Okay, you're, okay, sorry. Robert Rules of Order.
Have we talked to the people in the neighborhood there?
We have, yeah. Laguna Royale Development have actually been the ones that requested it the most.
Okay. Good.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Approval of minutes. Presenter Tricia Kramer, Director of Community and Recreation Services.
Thank you, Chairman Patty and Commissioners. The minutes of the June 13th regular meeting are in your agenda packet. And through the chair, I'd be happy to entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Are there any questions? If there are no questions, we could go to a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from June 13th, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Minutes are approved. Yard of the Quarter selection. Presenter Tricia Kramer, Director of Community and Recreation Services.
Thank you, Chairman Patty and Commissioners. The tally results for the Yard of the Quarter for this second quarter of 2024 are in your agenda packet. We had 3 nominated homes, 215 Ankara Drive North, that had a total, scoring of 109. 491 Cascada Road, a total scoring of 119. And 665 East Palm Street, that had a total scoring of 116. So the home that had the most votes was, that second one, 491 Cascada Road.
Congratulations to 491 Cascada.
And, we'll work with Public Works to notify them, put the Yard of the Quarter sign out, and, we'll get with Chuck to get some social media to, share with the community as well on that. And of course, put that in the next city line issue.
And perhaps in the fall, we could go with an entranceway of the quarter? Do we need to discuss that? Does that have to be an action item?
I would say since you guys already have elements set, from voting in the past, that if you wanted to change that up, that's a discussion for council. I know you had wanted to have that discussion.
Are we allowed to discuss it now?
Yes, it is on the agenda.
Oh, it is. Oh, not yet?
No, it's part of the one we're
Yeah,
on right
it's
now.
on the second page.
Oh,
It's
pardon
all
me.
part of the
Why am I getting-
Yard of the Quarter.
It's all part of your.
Okay. So we talked about that. I think that for our next year of the quarter, we should do entranceway of the quarter. I'm imagining Chuck being able to have almost like a film of like a street view into the entranceway facing the street.
What's our sector of the city that we're doing?
That's a good question.
You guys,
We kind of
It's up to you
decided,
to
we skewed
choose,
it last
yeah.
time so that we didn't do the same sector, same criteria, or same.
I can go to the email.
So when
we
you
just
say,
did Old Litchfield, I think.
We did
with
south,
the-
basically,
yeah,
so
south.
does that mean north is upcoming?
Got the greens that you jumped over,
yeah, we.
if you wanna go back to that.
Haven't done them for- But when you, Anthony, when you say entryway, so do you mean like straight looking forward to the front door entryway? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. So, sounds good.
Yeah,
Do the
sounds good.
green.
I think we could do the greens.
Anybody know what quadrant that is?
Yes.
Or do we need a motion?
I think that takes you to quadrant two. I can email it to you guys.
I have my map at
I guess
home.
if we don't need a motion, it's not relevant.
I have the map pulled up here, so what we just did, that'd be one, Tricia? No.
Minutes
I think it
we
would be
did
two, right?
We did two.
You just did, yeah, you just did quadrant two. So I think that the greens is quadrant three.
May I ask Tricia a question while you're looking at that, Chairman?
Yes.
On the matrix, Tricia, sorry to add more work, but could you
Yeah.
put on there somewhere, whether it's where you put quarter two tally sheet, could you also list on there what we're voting on? Like, for instance, what we're discussing right now? What the category is?
Other side.
So it's on that Google form.
Here.
Each
It
time you
is?
get that, yes,
It's part of,
it's at the top of the Google form that you use
Do
for
you
your
understand what I'm
voting.
saying?
yeah.
It shows you which quadrant and which element, and then obviously the home addresses.
Oh, so this is just the final matrix that you're showing us?
Yeah, that's just the final matrix.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So, I was here's the map.
Mhm.
Everybody has it in their email. pardon me, the area north of Fry's is included in 3. And they're both gated, so we'll just have to make sure we get yeah, because that one up there doesn't have a security guard.
Yeah, so I will work with that HOA and the Greens HOA to make sure that we get the commissioners access to those. And I'll just put that in the email as well.
Do we need a
So
motion?
yeah, I would just go ahead and set it straight for the record, exactly what you guys are wanting to do.
So I guess we would, if we all agree, we would be looking for a motion to do entranceway of the quarter for the next quarter for Zone 3 based on the map that we've kind of decided upon. I could pass this around.
I make the motion that for yard of the quarter for the next quarter, we focus on entranceways in Zone 3.
I'll second.
Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Will you send us a cutoff date too? Thank you.
I'm excited about this.
Good.
Playground shade structures, presenter Kyle Ames, Public Works Director.
Thank you, Chairman Taddy. Pretty self-explanatory. Playground structures, shade structures. At the request of multiple residents and a few of the commissioners, I've worked on getting some of these shade structures over the current parks playground equipment that do not have it. What I'm actually looking for is having a recommendation to take this to council, as well as color options. I'm looking for some color options for the top fabric. We do have 2 to 3 colors that we usually try to stick to. Mostly one, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's the desert sand color, the tan, but we're not opposed to potentially the green. That's why I hadn't put the green on there. I think that'd go very well with Turtle Park, considering Turtle's green, large green space. Playground equipment's green. So I feel like that'd be the best fit for that area. Village Park, same situation, playground equipment's green, large turf area, ball fields. We can also go with a darker brown as well to kind of match the tops of the restrooms, roofs. So it's something I was wanting to bring to you and see if we can get this to council and get it approved and move forward.
Remind me what color the bathroom roof is at Turtle Park?
Brown.
It's brown. But I think green would be complimentary to that.
I would vote for green. I have one more spot though that might need a shade structure, and it's at Scout Park, and it's at Toddler.
The toddler. The footprint is too small.
Too small?
Yeah, I asked Omnia, Outdoor Recreation. So we're gonna explore some other options that we can maybe put an umbrella type instead of footer style. They're gonna look into if anything could be mounted to the top of the current little playground structure that's there to kind of give it some shade.
Okay,
I'm still waiting to hear back from them, but that's a very small project, so
okay, thank you.
nothing
North
large.
corner
Yeah.
of Scout.
And it gets hot so fast. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would say take it to council and go for green.
I have a question. It's probably gonna be an unpopular question. Is there a liability with having hot playground equipment? I mean, we've all learned not to go on a slide when it's 115 degrees outside, and we've all survived. We're spending $70,000. I don't get it. My kids know not to touch metal when it's hot.
But it could give it more playtime, Alan.
Yeah,
Makes it a little bit usable in
And
the
if,
summertime.
so, if you buy another 2 weeks to a month of playtime for kids outside, I think, over the long run, that's worth it.
What I also recommend with the shade structures is it helps with the longevity of the equipment. This stuff sits out there and bakes in the sun. I don't know how often you guys go to Turtle Park, but it's starting to fade pretty fast. And it's not very old equipment. So this, in general, will help save, the longevity of this equipment. Instead of us replacing it every, whatever it may be.
Chairman, may I
Yes,
say
Commissioner.
something? also, there was a survey that went out to the community, that Christoph did, and I know Andy worked, hours and hours on it with him, but that was one of the responses by our community, was that they wanted shade in our parks.
Mhm. Yep.
So I'm happy to see this.
I think the color would look nice, but I wonder about the durability of having that darker color in the sun, if it would start to fade like the playground equipment.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't have the answer for that one. I don't see the green canopies very often. It's usually that desert
Mhm.
sand color.
Yeah, I thought they kind of went with the desert sand color because it looks the same even if it gets faded and
Mhm.
dusty and dirty.
That's true.
So I wonder, with a dust storm or something, if it's gonna look bad.
I don't think we've had that issue at the pool with our blue ones, right? Hasn't really,
Not really.
just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are the blue ones? I'm trying to think of where they are.
To the
Over the
north of
chairs,
pool.
yeah, north of the pool, and
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
the other side of the pool.
Mhm.
I'd say overall, I'm in favor of it. I like the idea of having kids. I'm in favor of more shade. And yeah, I like the green.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah, you want, this motion would be to recommend it to council. So if you guys are in favor of it, then staff can go take that to council with your recommendation.
If we had a color recommendation, we
Yeah.
could recommend that, not, just another piece of information we can use.
I think green would be good at Turtle Park, but at Village Park, I think most of the parks in that area have like the tan one.
Mhm.
Like
Aleppo
tan
Park.
better.
Aleppo Park, Little Park, it's the tan shade structure.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Probably better to stick with tan over there.
Yeah. That's what I would say. I like having the Turtle Park one be a little bit unique. It's kind of on its own over there too.
Mhm.
So the other playground, is that the one by the baseball field?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, by Jackie Robinson. Got it.
Well, I'll make a motion that we recommend to city council to go forward with the shade structures, green turtle, and desert sand?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Are there any questions?
One more question before we do that. Was there a bidding process, Kyle, or just different companies you looked at? or anything?
This was a co-op, and this is the same company that installed all the playground equipment that we have throughout the city. This was actually a nationwide co-op.
What does that mean?
It's nationwide, not just selected for Arizona, it's other states as well. So
What does that mean, a co-op, though?
competitive bidding. It's already been
Oh.
bid out throughout, all municipalities, all through all the states.
Are there any other questions? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Choose to abstain.
And one abstaining? The ayes have it.
I feel like we protect a lot of people from common sense things, and common sense is not so common anymore. So that's why I choose to abstain.
Everyone's entitled to their
Like lights in a dark park with a lake.
Litchfield Litchfield Square Park update. Presenter, Randy, is it Proch?
You are correct.
Randy Proch, Planning Director. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you, Chair, Vice Chairs, members of the commission. I got to meet a couple of you a few weeks back when we went on a little tour of some dirt, future park.
There was more than dirt.
There was some
Congrats.
grass, yeah, hanging on. I am your new planning director, replacing John Proch. John Proch moved to Minnesota. His wife went up there and said, "I'm not coming back," and he joined her. So that created this opportunity. Yes. you should have seen an email come from me a few weeks back, talking about the park and the playground. Every exhibit and picture I show you is, it's pretty close, actually. I'll say that for Litchfield Square. We're going to talk about the hilltop next, and that's not changed. What you see in front of you is as recent and as real as it gets with what's moving forward. Will you advance one? Thank you. So here is where we are and where we landed, excuse the plain pun there. So if you recall, John brought this before you about 2 months ago with brand new information and a tangent from what was already established about the tower and a very large plane feature that were hot off the presses that day, which had no buy-in or no knowledge from anyone else in the city, unfortunately. So I first need to apologize for that carrot being dangled in front of this commission, as that was premature to do so. What had already happened, which was not known or presented at that time, was the rest of the equipment, minus the plane, which was originally a custom-made from Germany, had already been cured and in progress since March of this year. This was something that was very much already vetted, in progress, and in production, quite frankly. The only thing that was remaining that was the unknown was the German plane, and I say that out loud, and it doesn't sound as good as I hoped it would sound. So excuse the pause there. So we did want to respect what was asked upon by city staff from this commission to see about the tower, to see about the very large jet as it looked, to see what was possible per se. And through our discoveries, through our correspondence with the team, with the construction team as well, anything is possible, I could say, but as mentioned in the email correspondence to this group, it was 4 to 6 times the cost and a 6-month delay in order to pivot very hard and do a bank turn, unintended that time, in order to basically undo everything that you see before you. The biggest thing, and that I'll just reiterate, is even here at the finish line, GMP 6, just about to wrap up. I did some numbers today. There's been over 50 field directives, which means at some point the city has said, you have it facing left, right, it should be facing, up and down. So that's 50 changes as the day progresses and as the month progresses. The contracting team has had over 30 requests for information, meaning they saw something in the field that should, be one way or the other that had to be fixed. These are daily occurrences in our lives, and there's been 23 supplemental submittals that we've sent them. Even though we have plans that have been finalized for years now, this is still something that is hard, quite frankly. It's very tricky. Even this morning, we were having conversations about what you see in front of you. There was additional talks at June about, well, this goes here, that goes here. You and I had correspondence about what happens there. You'll see the clouded lines around each of the structures and elements of the park. All those are essentially buffers, essentially, as far as the safe space. The fall zones you'll see in the tan circles, as far as those are the areas that have the thickest amount of pour in place. So any change or deviation from this is a recalculation of all measures, a re-engineering of all measures to say, if this goes here, it has to be, let's check liability, let's check the fall heights, let's see if they still fit. So we were essentially at 90% complete, except the plane. So we scoured all corners of our Exerplay, our consultant that is doing this, to see what can we do. We wanted to stick with this aviation theme. Obviously, we have the citrus and the farming theme as well, with the colors, and we wanted to see what we could find. And we ended up being able to do within the budget and within the timelines. It's plain up there. It's there on the top that you saw in your emails. Oh, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's not go there. The other thing that did come up are the 2 spring seats. Those are replacing the spinning chair. I know someone had brought it up at your June meeting. I don't know who it was. I was watching on YouTube, as far as seeing if that is the right element to include or not. We did find out as of yesterday, the word Navy can be removed, so they'll be more generic. We won't have a conflict between Army or Air Force and Navy, so that worked out a lot better. You know, you and I had talked about offline, you almost have a dogfighting element as they face one another, which we think still meets the intent and still keeps us on track. So I wanted just to essentially reiterate what I mentioned in the email correspondence to you all, say that we've put our best foot forward for what we can accomplish, and we do think that this finishes out everything pretty dang nicely and so forth. So this is still all of the above of what you see is on track for that, we hope, early November timeline. I know there's been a lot of dates that have been thrown out to you, and that date seems to keep moving back. I think, again, it was probably premature to put certain hard dates in press, in conversations with our commissions and boards, because, you know, as mentioned, we're at, you know, over 100 changes, even with our final plans that keep, you know, moving that finish line towards completion. That is what I have for you today as far as park updates. It's almost an update from your June meeting with John, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions?
So is the plane, is that finalized and ordered, and that's exactly what we're getting?
That is correct. In that color, yes, Commissioner.
All things considered, it's a great, it's great, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna turn out wonderful. I like having the more generic planes. I see on our handout, there are 2 of them, and there's 2 of them up there, but there's not 2 on that map.
Correct. That was, I was requested, and Commissioner Fix, I see you, and we'll go there next, if that's okay, Chair. Sorry, that's your discretion. Excuse me. So, yes, Commissioner Fix, you can see we do have a little bit of a gap there between our clouded outlines. So we did ask, I think, Monday, or maybe the Thursday, Friday of last week, if, you know, we can squeeze a second, and they said, yeah. But, you know, every time we make a change, they charge us to make these changes on plans, you know, hence, it doesn't show on this one.
Commissioner Fix?
I just had a question. You mentioned that there's a tie into both citrus and agriculture and aviation. Could you just touch on the citrus and agriculture within this photo, this map?
Sure. So at least when I see it, I see, you know, oranges, and I see, you know, fields per se. You know, when I started here, I saw our new city logo, and I said, it's Jamba Juice. And someone told me, you know, it's an orange tree. And I said, now I see an orange tree, so that helps. So, you know, as far as the color, the green shades on the pour-in-place rubber is very intentional. The orange circles are very intentional to tie just back into our, you know, agricultural and our citrus trees.
And is the plane, the jet, actually orange in real life when we get it?
Chair Vice Chair, yes, it is.
Okay. Good.
I think the idea with the net was that it looks sort of orange-like as well with number 5. Long time ago.
I think it looks fantastic.
The suspense is building.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Update on the Hilltop. Also, Randy Proch, Planning Director.
Chair, thank you. And I got ahead of myself on our last item. Everything you see before you is subject to change. There is not a single thing on here other than the location of the Litchfield House that I have any confidence that is a final design whatsoever. So we've been asked to bring this before you this evening just to get you thinking. I don't have an action item for you this evening, and it'll probably be a good year before we have an action item on the Hilltop. What is being discussed and potentially moving forward is the library, is a possible Agua Fria High School site, is a possible museum through the Historical Society, and the thing that is of most interest, I believe, to this commission is programming of the Hilltop as far as park space. we don't have answers. We don't have a master plan yet. And as a planner without a master plan, I am hurting very badly to try to make heads or tails. So there are only plates in the air, or balls in the air, plates spinning. I think I combined two analogies there. So that library is a template that we've used that is not the final design. That parking lot may face that way, it may not. That Performing Arts Center and high school campus is based on a flat site, and that site is not flat. So none of what you see is,
What you're gonna get.
we don't know. It's all conceptual, and there should be a very big where this is conceptual. We hope that there's a roundabout there. We're not sure on that either. There's still more engineering analysis to be done. So we know eventually there will be something. If it's all of these things, wouldn't that be something? If it's just the museum, that's still an impressive feat. If it's the library and the museum, now we have a bit of a cultural center building. If, you know, the high school and the Performing Arts Center uses the bandstand, that's pretty cool too. What we don't have, though, is a clear sense of how to be successful in any sort of park space that surrounds it. That's on the hilltop, on the terraces on the west side. So whether that's splash pads, playgrounds, zip lines, there's been all sorts of ideas thrown out, but not really a definitive right idea yet. And none of us have the right idea yet either. And, you know, certainly public will weigh in and have thoughts as well. You know, I'm still trying to figure out why, you know, Scout Park and Litchfield Square Park are 600 feet apart. You know, you can almost throw a ball from one park to the other. I'm complaining about the park space, but, you know, I don't think there's a need to duplicate what's already existing within our parks. That's just my opinion, and, you know, I would leave it at that. So, and can you advance one slide, and we'll go back one real quick. This is another thing I was asked to show you. This is a rendering. This is not real. This is not an architectural set of plans for the library. This is just an idea as far as we like to proliferate and honor our, you know, architectural stylings from yesterday. So this is what it could be. Applause while others take pictures in the audience. You can go back one. So my open-ended question for your discussion this evening is, what would you like to see on the hilltop?
In terms
All of
of
the
park
above.
amenities.
If sort of
Oh,
park
park
amenities, excuse me,
recreation amenities.
I should clarify, as far as the, you know, Recreation and Public Grounds Commission for you this evening, I don't know if it'd behoove us to have opinions about all of the balls in the air or the plates that are spinning regarding the museum or the library or the high school. That's not really our purview for this commission, nor my request for you this evening, but as far as park programming, that would be the open-ended question.
Vice Chair?
I'll tell you, one thing I wouldn't like to see, and maybe one thing I would like to see, I like zip lines, but I don't like a zip line up there. I'm leaning more towards quiet park stuff up there. Shade, paths, I don't know, sitting areas, some play spaces. But then I also probably need some updating on new park stuff that's even out there. But a zip line, to me, doesn't fit that space.
Thank you.
Sir?
I would say like walking paths,
Mm-hmm.
you know, xeriscape garden stuff, maybe like an accessible walking path. It's a pretty big space. And if we're putting a library and a museum there, I don't see the need for like a big grass or even like a large playground area. Maybe with the library, like a smaller play area, toddlers, yeah,
With maybe picnics.
something that's perhaps easier to maintain, but, and to complement what's right next to it, the senior living place. But then again, if you put high school stuff there, that might change, you know, if it's museum and library. I think of, the Buckeye Library, I think. There's like a walking
White Tank.
trail around it, White Takes
White
Library.
Library.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some kind of walking path
There is.
around.
It's a
it.
hiking path that starts right next to it, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Sir?
I agree with Vice Chair Phillips in the sense of quiet there. You know, we have plenty of parks that are adjacent to residences here where we can go and have loud playgrounds and stuff like that. There's a lot of playground equipment that I like that we said no to for liability. There's no way a zip line's going in our city, let's be honest. And my last point is I love that our library is central in our city and can be walked to by so many people. I'd be devastated if we moved the library out of central, Old Litchfield. My kids go there after school, they
I'm
go.
just gonna tell you, it's not up for discussion
Yeah.
at this meeting.
I know, I'm voicing my opinion. That's it.
Commissioner Colbert?
You know, say for me, I like the ideas that I've heard so far. I haven't been up there really that I can think of, so I'm not really familiar with the area. I've seen it driving by, but I've never been up there. And it's also very difficult for me to brainstorm not knowing any other things that'll be up there.
We can remedy that. We know a guy who could get you a tour up there possibly.
Yeah. So this time, I don't have any additional ideas.
Commissioner Fix?
I will echo what Commissioner Colbert just said. I haven't been up there for very many years, long before they did any of their restoration. But just from an aerial, from what I'm seeing, there's 1,000 parking spaces. And I don't understand why we would need that many parking spaces. That's a lot of real estate that it's chewed up. And also echoing what Commissioner Phillips said about maybe some quiet spaces, some nice, like maybe a little trail system that's all shaded. Something like that. I would be, so that would be what I would be against, was all that parking, and pro some quiet spaces, quiet park area.
Thank you.
So that green area is the bandstand, is that right?
Commissioner Fix, just to clarify, this is all conceptual, as you know.
Right.
The bandstand concrete pad itself is what's shown in tan. The greenery is based on imagery I saw at Aunt Mary's house last week when I went to go see the museum, as far as what used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if there, and again, this is only staff opinion, not any sort of public or commission input, but as far as if there was an area to reinvigorate per se and celebrate, knowing that it is the highest point. I mean, we're talking about from the bandstand to that, oh, it's not gonna work on the TV, is it? Because of electricity and, excuse me. But at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen where the driveway is, it's a 40-foot drop. So there is certainly a change in elevation as far as how it goes. And just to maybe answer one of the questions that's come up as far as paths go, I don't know that any of this is ADA compliant. And really that has to be the first thing. Make sure the fire department's happy, make sure that you are ADA compliant. So even going from Sun Health up to the bandstand of 40-foot rise in elevation, we're not sure what's possible as far as just getting people there safely. This may end up being sort of situations that are either switchbacks or very circuitous routes in order to stay within the maximum tolerances.
Is there main discussion about timeline? Because shy of hearing about the library moving, this is the first I've heard of any of this kind of stuff. I knew they were renovating the buildings up there, but, I mean, this has taken us how many years to work on the Village Park? This seems pie in the sky a little bit here.
So, yeah, Commissioner Swartz, great question. I came on and they said, you, meaning me, need to finish Litchfield Square in 2 years. The high school wants to open in 2 years. The museum wants to be open yesterday, and the library is expected to go under construction in the next 6 to 12 months. And then John left. And
What, so have you heard about
High
the
school
high
hasn't even
school?
done a bond yet.
That's what I was just gonna
Sammy
say.
opened up their high school
I
down
feel like
by
the high school
Trotter
is
track.
very far away.
That's a Eastless,
But I
boutique school.
completely trust what you're saying.
I can clarify Commissioner Schwartz's comment. The bond passed. This is a
For the new high school, not this one.
for this high school. That was last year's bond. They are going to vote again this fall for other matters, but this money is set aside. There's $60 million that has been set for the construction of this high school. Now, I don't know that it's here. I don't know that it will look like this, but that is their current path they're looking to achieve.
Thank you for clarifying
700
that.
student performing arts.
Yeah.
And to,
It's not a traditional.
and
Right,
No.
right.
I'd ask, I can happy to clarify, because there's a lot of misinformation, I think, on that as well. So Vice Chair, this is a maximum of 400 students.
400.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I heard 7.
So the hope for the school district is that the Performing Arts Center would hold 700 seats. So I think you may have
Oh,
combined those
gotcha.
ideas.
Yep.
But again, this is all asterisks at the bottom of every statement I make that says subject to change.
Okay.
That's their intent.
Commissioner Fix?
Would we be remiss and not ask our community for input on this? I mean, they have all along been every step of the way with us to do the city center. Why would we not want to bring this to them as well? I'm not saying, I think we could set certain parameters of, these are the things we're thinking of, what does the community prefer?
We fully support you and that idea, and when appropriate, it will be a next step. Again, as mentioned, I don't have answers for you now, and I don't expect answers as far as programming. This is probably a good 6 to 12 months away before we even start thinking about how this will marry up with all of these ideas. We are in a position where our outside partners, being the school district and the Maricopa County Library District, who, it's their library as far as county facilities go, are ready to move forward. And we'll be seeing these sorts of things coming before City Council here in the fall. So as these pieces start to fit, what is left is essentially ours to think about how to, again, marry up with these ideas, or either celebrate one another to see how this is all going to make sense. But yes, to your point, city staff, this commission, members of public, certainly our outside partners as well, will all be looking at how to take that next step. Now, there's a CIP budget to remediate some of the concerns that are out there, but certainly any sort of future park is not, in our timeline or in our CIP at this point.
I would say go ahead, I'm sorry.
Chairman, if I may, Commissioner Fix, I think that, this is exactly why we're coming to you as the commissioners first, is to put it in front of you as our representatives of the community that have been appointed by council to say, okay, these are recreational topics that we would like to address with the community, and we've been come to find out what we like, and also now take that back to the community and say, hey, we've been tasked with helping to determine what does the community want at the Hilltop in terms of recreation and amenities and city programming. And so I would just recommend that as you're thinking about this over the next several months to a year, presumably, that you work to meet with the community members as well to take their pulse, so that by the time we get to those public meetings for public input, we're closer and closer to what the community wants as a whole.
And I would say a couple of things too. We could definitely get tours up there to kind of check out the hilltop. And I did it. It was a blast. I didn't realize the amount of space. I think that was what surprised me, the amount of space you get up there. And I also think that the trails leading around are a great idea. There's a spot on the hilltop where, I guess the story is, it was a very nice spot to watch the sunset. So I think that that could somehow be incorporated into the trails. Even if there's like a sitting area, sunset point.
Sunset
There
Point.
you go.
Yeah,
We have a name for it already.
yeah.
It's our new park.
Is that an existing name, or did you just come up with that now?
Well, it's on the way to
On the way to
Flagstaff.
Flagstaff.
Yeah, it's on the highway, right? So, one last idea, and we've floated it before. I wonder what the trails look like with circuit training stations. No?
Jogging
Go to
trail.
the gym.
That costs money.
I like to go to the gym, but sometimes I like to do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups.
Chair, as far as new fads in parks, that is one that is taking off very much so, because not only do you have, the stations around, but then you have Pilates or yoga in certain areas that, you can have that sort of gathering space. Yes, those terraces, to your point, are on the west side already established. They used to watch the planes, and certainly watch the sunsets as well. So anything to celebrate the space, and I think that's one of the things that we've seen over the years is there's been dilapidation in some of these structures because there hasn't been eyes on them or care towards it. So as we have not only, we can say people from all ages, quite frankly, that'll be in very close proximity or within the hilltop, how do we continue to celebrate and utilize the space appropriately?
Right on.
So who's in charge? You have so many really big players.
Yes.
Is the city in charge?
So Vice Chair, I can happy answer. The city is in charge.
Okay.
A chip in the back of my head when I started here is getting warm. I don't know what's going on. No, so the city's in charge. Anything that the school wants to do, and I'll clarify. Normally, schools are exempt from local jurisdiction. They're a separate subdivision of state law. So you'll see schools do as they please. Because the school would be located on city-owned property, we do have the opportunity to do a development agreement to ensure how they operate and exist and use the space is what the city wants. That's a rare opportunity, so we will be exercising that. We will have a similar, not necessarily DA as far as a development agreement, but an IGA, an intergovernmental agreement with the county library district as far as the look, the feel. They are essentially handing the keys over to us in the most sense, other than it'll be their staff inside and their books. But other than that, it is how the city determines to best utilize the space. The only other player in this is the Historical Society. The Historical Society is working towards an agreement with the city, but it is essentially the footprint of just the house itself. So all three of those players are on our land, in our jurisdiction, and our ultimate underlying authority in order to be successful.
Thank you.
So to clarify, can the city say no to a high school, or this high school can come if they want to?
Commissioner Colbert, great question. If it was any other piece of privately owned land, the high school district, or the elementary district, unified district, depending on where you are around the town, ultimately would have to buy land or work with a master developer. You'll see that in new subdivisions. They'll have a dedication because it's successful for both parties in order to be in that partnership. The high school, and this is sort of peeling the curtain a bit, so I'll be careful. The high school's been looking for a home.
Mm-hmm.
They had the bond, they're successful in that, now they need to put it somewhere. So this is an area that we thought there would be a good partnership with. It's still in the works, whether or not that makes sense or not. So they couldn't override in that situation. What I mean by as far as separate subdivision of the state, once it's their land and they own the land, if they want to block driveways, they can. If they want to tear down those trees, they could. If they want to add 500 more kids, they can, and the city has nothing to do with that or any say in the matter.
Right.
This is not that situation because we do have that ultimate authority as landowners.
As I look at this more, what I would like to see is sort of like a smaller version of the Botanic Garden in Tempe or Phoenix, how they have concerts, performing arts there, like
Cholula,
reinvigorate,
Yeah.
right, yeah, and reinvigorate the bandstand or the high elevation area. To have that kind of stuff would
That'd be cool.
definitely mix well with performing arts library, quiet space, you know, acoustic performances, or, you know, I think they have like, at the Botanic Garden, they have ballets outside,
Mhm.
a lot of walking paths, plants,
And the Performing Arts Studio, there will be dance class.
yes, yeah.
There's certainly
I
some
think that could
synergy.
be a really, really neat space.
Thank you.
Great discussion, guys. Are there any other questions?
I hope I live long enough to see it.
You gotta get yourself a tour up there. It was
I've
a
done
blast.
it. Yeah, I've done it a couple.
Right on.
Plus, I snuck in college all the time.
You're not allowed to say that.
Statute of limitations is expired. Good.
1971.
I'm not judging. Public basketball courts in Litchfield Park. Presenter Tricia Kramer, Director of Community and Recreation Services.
Thank you, Chairman Hattie and Commissioners. This is really a brief update, more so to let you know that we are still working on this. We're still looking into options. When we last met, I told you that I had put in a request to view the IGA between the City of Surprise and the Dysart Unified School District, because there had been some thought that the courts and playground areas at all of the schools in the district were open for public use through an agreement between the City of Surprise and the school district. I had the opportunity to take a look at the IGA. In that, it does not reference any sort of opening the space for public use. The agreement references shared use between the city and the district in terms of allowing the city as a preferred group to be able to offer their own kind of programming on site at, it appears, no cost or limited cost for some summer camp use, such as using the buses and having drivers, that kind of stuff. So there's arrangements that way, and it's reciprocal, where the district also has access to city facilities that they might be interested in using. Exactly what those are, I'm not sure. It might be the library, because I believe the city owns its library. It's not a county owned one up there. But so that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna try and get some more information from the city to see if there's public use, but in terms of just looking at the IGA, it doesn't appear that way. It appears that the district opens it to use by the city, but also that's when the city is staffing it on site at the school for its programming.
Is there an expiration date on the IGA with the district? Or is there an
Yes.
amendment process?
It's a 5-year agreement, so this one is good through 2027. It renews annually through 2027, and then presumably if they're still making good use of it, then they'll enter into a new contract.
Yes, sir.
Perhaps it wasn't an IGA, or maybe it's changed since I left, but I remember being at a meeting where Dysart was gonna open, I think it was 4 of their, maybe it was their middle schools, 4 of their elementary schools, wasn't all of them.
Mhm.
They were gonna make them, like, the playground area available to the public. And so, like I said, I don't know if it was an IGA, I'm sure there was some sort of liability thing on that, but do you remember that at all?
I do, and I know that they were working with, I don't know, so I said something to them. They said, yes, we did ask them to fill out a public
Mhm.
records request.
Yeah.
Was that finalized?
Yeah, that's how I got to see
Oh,
the
okay.
IGA. Yeah.
So, Yeah, I think it still exists in Dysart where those 4 schools are opened.
In the afternoons, open for kids to play.
I believe so.
I might reach out to the old director of community ed and just say, what was the deal with that, and just see what I can find out.
He's back at Willow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't fall under that, so if there's
Yeah.
something else that the district's doing, it'd be great to know. But so far, we've come up short on that. But we'll keep researching and we'll keep reaching out to see, so that if it's something that's, like we said, working out for the city of Surprise and the school district, then we certainly want to consider that here in Litchfield Park between us and the elementary school in the district.
Didn't the elementary school tell us that the park should be opened?
They did tell us, the school didn't, the district did, and Pat has another call into the school itself, because that wasn't happening,
Yeah.
and he hadn't been able to connect yet and actually speak to someone from the school to see what their understanding is.
Commissioner
That was
Colbert?
gonna be my follow-up question as well, 'cause I remember there was some confusion as to,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think someone said that they should be open, but the gates are always locked as far as every time I drive by. so.
Yeah.
So we're still in kind of a holding
Yeah.
pattern on that information and
Yeah, so
possibly-
now at the start of the school year, Pat is waiting on a response.
Copy.
Is this something perhaps getting, I don't know, council involved in, or someone else? I mean, maybe the mayor would have a contact, something we perhaps should refer to them? Just thought, I don't know.
I would say for now, I don't think that the school is ignoring us. I think they just hadn't been able to
Yeah.
to connect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Commissioners report on current events. Commissioner Schwartz.
Kids are excited for the youth triathlon. I only got one left that is of appropriate age for that. And the fall is always fun when we get our, concerts going and our art shows and youth sports and regattas on the lake. It'll be interesting if they have a regatta with the weeds. That would be a little bit more challenging, I think. But, no, excited for cooler weather and see everybody out and about.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Colbert?
I had one child participate in the Legardo swim team this summer, and I just wanted to compliments to staff. It was well-run and overall good season.
Right on.
I have nothing.
Tour.
What?
The tour of the park.
Oh, I should say that? Yeah.
Probably be nice to,
A couple of us got bonus points because we went on the tour of the park, and it was, how hot that day, you guys? It was hot.
Pretty much the hottest.
Yeah, it was like, at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon,
It's like
but,
easy.
no, it was nice to be out there walking amongst things that were living and done, and see it from, walking by rather than driving by and not being able to see it up close and personal, and the progress to see is exciting.
Right on. I look forward to maybe scheduling round 2 of the, tour of the park, maybe sometime in September. And whoever didn't get to go the first time, go the second time, maybe even the ones who went the first time, go the second time too.
Yeah.
Well, this time we should be able to see the bathrooms, right? Well, depending when we go.
Rule being, it has to be over 110 degrees.
That's right.
That was gonna be my
Tradition of,
That's right.
of the event.
Not 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, though, thank you so much for arranging that, everybody. I wanted to go, I couldn't. A work thing that happened at the same time. And looking around the streets, seeing the palm trees get trimmed, seeing, how nice the grass looks, all of that. Thank you very much to you and your crew, Kyle, because everything looks beautiful again. And that's all I got. Commissioner Faith?
Like to thank Randy for coming out here. Thank you.
My door's
Look
always
forward
open.
to,
It's right there.
oh, right there. All right. I had no
It's open
idea
right
that room
now.
was there.
Literally.
Yeah, great presentation. Thank you for, keeping us involved in it. Look forward to working with you all.
Like,
Got Commissioner Fix too.
Is it my
Oh,
turn?
Commissioner, how could we,
We're totally.
I know.
Commissioner Fix?
I am in favor of having another round 2 of the tour as well. I would love to see the progress. I will make a special note to be sure I'm in town that next time. I would also be in favor of a tour of the hilltop as well. I think we should probably put that together as a commission. And I appreciate all the work that the city is doing. Every time I pop back in, everything is so clean and tidy, and I know there's been terrible storms, so thank you for that. And I really appreciate the presentation of the updates on everything.
Thank you, Commissioner Fix. Thank you, all commissioners. Topics for referral to city council. We do have one. We have the playground shade structures, which we've already commented on, and that's it,
That's it.
correct?
Yes, correct.
Do we have to do anything where we're doing entranceway of the quarter for the next yard of the quarter? Does that have to push to city council, or is it gonna just stay here? Okay. All right, looking for that one motion.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Any questions?
Okay.
You have a question?
No, I was seconding the motion.
Oh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. That was bad, huh? Hate that.